Welcome to another Tokyo Xtreme Racer video. We've got another update recently, so there's something to talk about here. I took a few days to actually try out the new stuff before making a video on the whole thing. So yeah, the main big thing here is another mode for New Game Plus, where the enemies are a bit more upgraded and you actually have to match their power level. It's a bit like classes in something like Forza or Gran Turismo, I think also has something like that going on. It's doing a thing with the whole speed metric thing, which has been in the game for quite a while, but now has a really interesting use. They also overhauled the main menu a bit, which is why I'm showing that to you right now. Once you played through the game, you can go right into New Game Plus. You can also continue your active run. You can also delete the saved data in order to start from scratch again. But it's not just going to give you the new game option, the regular one, because that got a few people to accidentally get rid of their endgame save data. Honestly, I think the whole save game thing is still a bit of a problem here. I would love to have another regular playthrough, but still somehow keep my existing car data in the background and maybe merge the two at the end of it, so I can use both the cars from the active playthrough and the ones from the one before, and just have a massive garage at the end. But as it is right now, yeah, you can do a one regular playthrough and then go into New Game Plus multiple times, but if you want to have another regular playthrough, that's kinda a separate thing, and I don't know. But yeah, to introduce the new game mode, let's go for New Game Plus again. And here we can see everything as it is laid out. We can go for Genuine, which is the old mode. No class restrictions, challenge any rival for faster story progression. So basically your endgame cars against everything as it used to be again. And Master Tune, the hard mode. Classes are set to the speed metric. You can only battle rivals within your class range. Use tune and settings to match your opponent's range and win on equal terms. Gear ratios are the key to victory. Rivals, cornering and levels are boosted. Additionally, damage taken when colliding with a wall has increased. Definitely felt that quite a bit. But yeah, let's go back and go into my active playthrough where I can hopefully make this a bit more clear. So basically the different stages now have a speed metric, which is mentioned right here, and you have to match that with your vehicle's speed metric. In order to do that, you go into tuning and just first off upgrade it within the rough range of what you want to reach right here, and then through the setting menu you can also change the transmission ratio on most cars in order to fine-tune. We can also make that a bit larger if we keep an eye on that metric right there and change it. Right here you can see higher top speed gives me higher speed metric, and lower top speed reduces that up until a point. I think with some of it has to do whether the whole thing is a speed that's maybe theoretically possible and maybe can't even actively reach it. Because in some cases air resistance and that kind of thing is just gonna stop the vehicle from getting to that speed to begin with, and it's only going to hurt your acceleration at that point. But yeah, in terms of everything else regarding the playthrough, you have everything unlocked again. You just have to redistribute your battle points in order to get all the stuff again. And yeah, then you can do basically what you want here. And yeah, you can of course use your entire vehicle collection and up and downgrade vehicles in order to get into the speed metric. For the tutorial bit where you only have the C1, it's also 350 or less. And I'm right now in the in the stage right after. So this is the first time I can get onto the entire course, and it's still the same speed metric. The wanderers that I've seen so far seem to be at 450, so yeah, quite a bit higher than that. But in the end I can use whatever vehicle I want as long as I can downgrade it into that range. I even tried with one of the R35s right here. Basically downgraded the engine, and honestly this is a horrible car for the purpose, but it is possible to get it into the range. So yeah, let's take a look at the reference screen. There are a few more additions over here. With some of the active things, they are... I don't know why it only gives me the thing right there, but I've beaten them all already. Should tell me about the regulations right here. So yeah, it's 350 or less for all of them. I don't think it goes for anything that I haven't encountered yet. But we can also switch the information depending on our mode here. So one is the master tune, which should in some cases give us also the regulations. One is nitro and skill unavailable. Okay, that's another thing, and apparently I've beaten most of the rivals on that version. And one is for the regular, where I've beaten everybody already. So the nitro and skill is another thing that we can have here. It's another additional rule, and we can change it over here. The difference is, if we allow nitro and skill, the rivals get that as well. So a lot of them will just start by boosting a bit with nitro and try to run away from us. If we disable it, yeah, they don't get nitro, we don't get either, and the skills are also disabled. So the important part is, skills really only are the active things that we choose. Anything that we have in terms of the SP bar, all of these values right here, same for attack, defense and toughness, that still matters. You gotta be careful there. If you don't invest points into this, it's gonna be really tough. And the rivals have all been boosted with their levels as well. The rolling guys are all somewhere in level 20 or higher. So if you go in as level 1 or level 0, whatever you start with, not gonna go well. But yeah, theoretically, tune any car you want to that level. You can choose between nitro and skill available or not. I think overall keeping that available makes the game quite a bit easier. Having it unavailable makes it a pure skill thing, but it makes most rivals quite the battle. So I wanted it to be a bit easier, so I decided to keep that stuff enabled. Another cool little thing here, if we look at the rivals, there might be some wanderers that can show that right now. They added another thing to the symbols here. Right here we can see that. There's a red outline around the arrow there, which means that this thing is not available for me. So we can encounter the rival, but they won't accept any battle, which is also the case if we go above their regulated speed metric. For this one, this just means that it's a wanderer that I cannot encounter because I don't fulfill whatever requirements they have. So you can immediately see if you can't accept a battle against somebody. And yeah, that's also a nice little quality of life thing right there. But yeah, this is my current stage, still very early in the game and quite tough to beat some of the opponents, but also very fun. Wouldn't recommend doing this on a no-loss playthrough, that would be absolute agony. I mean, some people might be into that, but I certainly wouldn't do that. I don't know if there are any new achievements with this, but yeah. Other few additions, like being able to use photo mode in the replay theater. That's something that I've been talking about in the last video, I think. Because that always felt a bit strange that they put in the replay theater but not allow you to go back to take a certain screenshot from a specific thing you encountered there. But yeah, this is how the entire thing works now. They are all kind of upgraded quite a bit. And you can see Unwelcome Old Boy level 24. I don't like that they always still give you the whole flashing prompt. Feels a bit unnecessary, and then unless you get rid of a lot of other important information, you cannot turn that off. But yeah, with Nitro only you have to boost quite a bit. Also keep a lookout on the bottom left. The map has been enlarged. So there's a bit of zoom when you go into a battle now. You can turn it off in the options. But yeah, by default now you get the regular map when driving in free roam. And when getting into a battle it zooms in on the whole action so you can observe that entire thing a bit closer. But yeah, I think it was pretty clear that that dude also used Nitro at the start of the battle. If I go back to the garage, turn off the whole Nitro thing, then that's also going to apply to everybody else that I encounter. So yeah, cool little update. I still once again wish there was an option to do another regular playthrough with all the challenge restrictions, with upgrades and all of that enabled, and also making your old funds unavailable. Because when you do a challenge run through, maybe with a different car for starters, it's easy enough to ignore all the vehicles that you unlocked before. Although you would still need the garage slots in order to even get another car at that point, once you reset. But yeah, having so many battle points, so many credits and all of that, for me, for a challenge playthrough, getting those resources back is part of the deal, and not just keeping it from your past playthrough. So as it is right now, that part is kinda difficult right now. Let's see if we can get to the same guy again. Might have to start over here. But I think you can also just take my word that none of the rivals are going to use Nitro in this whole set right now. It's interesting that you can go back and forth between that. I mean, the game keeps track of who you beat in which mode. So that's kinda nice. But yeah, that's basically the new Master Tune mode. I'm not entirely sure if this will actually escalate at some point if we get higher tuning limits for the later stages. Might be the case. I mean, officially the part where you only have the C1 available and this one is still the same stage, even though it feels way different. So yeah, maybe once I get to the official stage 2, then maybe it's going to escalate quite a bit. But that's also going to be a bit of work getting there. So let's just go over to Unwelcome Old Boy again and see that, yeah, that dude won't be using Nitro against me. So yeah, overall pretty cool mode. The thing about the Nitro not being available, once you activate that, you also won't be able to unequip the Nitro. So set up your car before you turn on the rule set and then go do that. Even if you don't use the nitro, it being equipped to the car adds a bit of weight. Might also be a good thing to have in case you need that in order to go below the limit for the current stage, etc. Or stage or whatever rival you are looking at. I think this might also cause a problem in later stages if they do expand the speed metric for those rivals, and yeah, you have to tune your car accordingly in order to keep up with them. You might not be able to do anything with the with ones from the past stages. So just doing a few repeat battles won't be a thing anymore at that point. Don't know if there's a solution for that. We'll have to see once we get there. But yeah, I also had another challenge run going, which I got a backup for before going back to the main save here. But at some point it got a bit tedious trying to basically run with subpar cars for the stage. And yeah, I don't know if I will be going back to that. Had to fight the three Kurosaki brothers with God, what did I use there? I tried multiple cars. Like the Sylvia K, the 180 SX, one of the older Mazda MX-5s, etc. There are a lot of options and none of them did the trick. In the end I ended up saving for a different boss car, which was way overpowered for that stage, and beat them with that. There wasn't anything in my self-imposed rule set against that. Just couldn't get any of the later stage cars yet. Boss cars maybe exempt, but it just got a bit too hard having to repeat so many battles and constantly being underpowered. So yeah, this is an interesting rule set in my opinion. Definitely something new and cool. But yeah, ideally I would like a way to just set up a regular playthrough with a different starter car and keep the other resources that I already own out of the picture until I want them back. Or just give us the option to maybe have different, or unlock the option for different starter cars for a regular playthrough, and just allow us to have multiple saves. That would also be nice. There may be some way to transfer cars. I've been using that third-party tool to do that, but it doesn't save the tuning, it doesn't save the upgrades, the aero, and not even the base color. Just transfers the decals, which is nice and helpful, but not anywhere close enough to really feel like I got the same car back. Also, one thing about the speed metric, as the texts say, there's an entire tutorial thing for that. The speed metric only really cares about acceleration and top speed. So, since handling isn't included in that, going with top tier tires is basically a no-brainer, just always gonna do that. I thought it would also be beneficial to run the full weight reduction, since that's both for acceleration and handling. But turns out that part is actually not that helpful. It can really help the handling of the car and maybe acceleration a bit, but it ups the speed metric quite a bit, and to a point where the cars, once fully upgraded in that way, aren't really competitive anymore. It's better to run them with a bit more weight, but also add more power. So right now I'm really happy with what I got over here with the old Skyline. Everything else we'll have to see about. But yeah, the new mode, pretty fun. Yeah, I can show you guys the explanation as well. So Master Tune is a mode in which you adjust your speed metric to match your rivals' regulations and win against equal competition. Adjust the setting and tune depending on the rivals you are racing against, and the area you are racing in is the key to victory. Current regulations right here, that's the limit that I get to, and the player speed metric, all shown in the screenshot right there. And speed metric, that's the important part, is calculated from acceleration and top speed. So yeah, set your maximum speed appropriate for the driving area. And that's kind of a weird thing for me. I went into a deep dive to make tuning videos for Motortown, and yeah, in the end, Final Drive gives you the ratio between acceleration and top speed. But in the end, that doesn't really change your overall power. And supposedly, according to the theory, the amount of top speed you lose equals the amount of gain in acceleration. So theoretically, unless you go to a point where you can't even reach your top speed anymore that you have put in there, which would just be hurting your acceleration. If you are in a viable top speed range, you shouldn't really see a change in speed metric. But they might be calculating that whole thing differently, so that's how it works here. But yeah, as said, the important part is that handling is not under consideration, so at the very least, top tier tires are really important. They change the metric a little bit, but not really all that much. So yeah, losing 0.5 on the speed metric for going with level 5 tires compared to stock is not a big difference, all things considered. But yeah, for the body, if I were to go with a fully upgraded one, yeah, plus 16, going down by 110 kilograms, that's not insignificant. But if I were to then try to compensate for that, I would lose quite a bit of power in the process, and it's not worth it. So yeah, that's the overall overlook here. I can say this is a fun new mode, and I'm happy that they put this in. Definitely helps making the New Game Plus thing a bit more interesting. Again, there are other things that I would like to see from that, and maybe even just a multi-save option thing in-game would make this much easier to handle certain things. Again, the save file management for this game, I think, is still one of its major downsides. But hey, at least you got something cool to do in New Game Plus as well now. And you can definitely take a large variety of cars and upgrade them to the speed metric in order to try out certain things here. I could even go and maybe we can get the van. See how that tuning is. Where is it? Somewhere over here. So I can maybe invest a few points and get myself those traffic vehicles. I mean, I got the money, so why not? See how far they go. Would be hilarious beating anybody with a truck especially. Comes in 4 different colors. Just kinda cool, kinda nice. Not gonna look into the license plate thing here. But yeah, let's see how far we can tune it. Speed metric right now 146, that's not amazing. And we can bring it up over to 100 by just changing the engine. So if we add some other parts without going for full engine swap, I'm still using the native tune here. Okay, all things considered, minus 364 kilogram is a lot, but not if your vehicle weighs 2.6 tons by default. So that's not going to go that far. So yeah, fully upgraded, we might be able to make it into the into range to use this against starter vehicles. Or maybe not even that. But hey, there's always engine swaps, so might have to try those out. I mean, looking where the power figure is right now, we can definitely do better. So this is actually a bit worse, despite being lighter. But yeah, displacement 5000 cc. Max torque of 74. This might not work that well, because we are still a very heavy vehicle above 2 tons, and the torque isn't going to be that amazing in any of the sports car engines. Although this one is pretty good. Taking the stock V6 turbo right here gets us just slightly above our limit right there. So if we go to setting right now, I mean, first up I would like to maybe reduce the ride height a bit. Just like that. And if we bring down the top speed, the speed metric is gonna go up for a bit, because once again, this is a top speed that yeah, really doesn't work for the vehicle to begin with. Okay, we might actually have to go the other way in order to get below 350. Honestly, this will be pretty horrible, because we can't even really use the last gear. But sure, why not? I wish we had larger range for final drive ratio. It doesn't really seem to be going far enough to manage certain situations. So let's see if this is in any way viable. I don't think we will be going up against the team leader with that, but the idea of using the truck against the K car is hilarious enough to try. Ginza C1 Auto. First time of me driving this truck. Oh, there's an even further away camera, which you kinda need. I mean, this is somewhat quick. We also seem to be hitting the ground quite a bit. Maybe lowering the car to the max hasn't been the best idea after all. Might be slowing us down a very minor amount. Yeah, I wasn't able to beat this one yet. Maybe the truck can do it. Maybe I can also just put that thing on my cargo bed and yeah, just move it around like that. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. God, the handling is pretty good here. But yeah, this is basically how you tune the entire thing in order to make it work for the regulations. Lots of trial and error to get a really good tune, but can work out in the end. So right now the first thing I need to do is race the whole thing again. And honestly, considering that handling, I don't even need all that weight reduction. Like, we were nimble, which I didn't expect. So if we get rid of all of that, that brings us down to 308. That means... Can we just go for another engine swap? Honestly, I like this engine for the torque, so we're just gonna keep with that. Just try to get a bit more power out of it. Also the exhaust. Would maybe be a good idea to just not get it all in through the upgrades and instead invest a bit more into the tuning. So change that horrible transmission. But I'm just gonna use it as it is right now. Okay, we got the team leader right there. I don't think we'll beat it, but we can see if it works better now. At the very least. And yeah, you just keep doing that until you have a viable vehicle. Truck or not. I don't think this is going to go well, but we gotta try. Maybe with Nitro it would go a bit better, but yeah. Also kinda mess up one of my upshifts, so can't really expect too much from this. We are still very much maneuverable around the course. But yeah, that's for this whole thing as a bit of little experiment. Enough of that. With all of this, I think we are done here. So thanks for watching. I'll keep trying, maybe not with the truck, but one of the cars. Maybe I'll try the van at some point. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. As always, have a good one. And bye bye.